Circle back or fight me?
Did you even read my email, bro?
No, that's above my pay grade.
This is not a drill.
Need unfiltered stories and advice about balancing work, life, and everything in between?
We're here to help. Welcome to Girls That Excel, your virtual support system to keep you excelling no matter what your path to success may be. It's Alyssa
and Emily, and today we are joined with Sonia, a passionate leader dedicated to strengthening Latino communities through affordable housing, ownership support, and economic advancement in education. Sonia works at a Latina-led community development corporation where she helps families build sustainability, opportunities, and generational wealth. We're excited to have her here and share her story, her insights on housing and the economic empowerment, and how we can better support Latino women in business. So this is in honor of Cinco de Mayo. Today is Cinco de Mayo, so happy to everyone who celebrates. And we're here to learn more about the culture, and we're grateful to have Sonia on. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I love to,
welcome.
girl power.
Yes, girl power is where it's at.
We are big proponents of women that excel.
Yeah, so every episode we clock in like you're clocking into work. So today's clock-in question is, what's one thing that makes a house feel like a home for you?
For sure, what makes a house feel like a home, I would have to say, is lots of love. Feeling safe in your environment. Feeling like, I think safe is keyword. Feeling safe, like your home should be your safe place. And there should be people in that environment that make you feel loved, supported, and safe. Of course, then we have the essentials like food and things like that. But overall, I think feeling safe and feeling love and having that within, your four walls, wherever you live at, is key. You are winning if you have somewhere to go to that you feel safe and loved.
Yeah,
I love that.
Absolutely.
I completely agree with you. That was going to be my answer, was like a place where you feel at home, but like there's people there that love you and support you and make you feel comfortable.
So is that your answer, Alyssa?
Yeah, that's my answer. That's my answer. I am in agreement.
Well, yeah, I feel like anywhere where you can have friends over, have family, feel safe, I think it's super key to like creating a home. It's not necessarily like where you live, it's like who you're with. But for me, like whenever I move into a new space, there is like this poem I hang up. Like it's like the first thing I hang up every single time. It's like, that's how I know like this is my new home. And it's, I'm going to like butcher the poem, but essentially it says like, don't leave this world until you've made it more loving, more compassionate, and more like understanding to other people. And so that's kind of like what I like to remind myself of, like home.
I like that.
Yeah. So Sonia, I mean, I would love for you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Definitely. Just like my personal background, I am, Latina, born and raised from Oregon, raised in Woodburn, which is a community where it's almost like 90% Latinos. And so being raised in a community where there is a lot of affordable housing, we did have a lot of, disadvantages, and it was, a lot of low income communities. Most of the people from Woodburn were, where I'm from, were, farm workers, worked at canneries. And so a lot of, just families barely getting by in the community, not having a lot of resources or, I guess, resources I said would be key both for youth in the community as well as the people living there.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of growing up, having so many disadvantages and being the youngest of seven. I knew that if I wanted to kind of do something in my life, I had to work twice as hard. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life, but I knew I wanted to help people and make a difference in my community. I didn't have a vision of who does, right?
Yeah.
But I know that I know what I felt and I know what challenges I had growing up. And I knew that my heart and my passion was going to be my guidance. And whatever I did with, as long as I let that guide me, I was going to be just fine. And, growing up in Woodburn, I would say there was a lot of challenging things, being a Latino community and having that stigma of where there's a lot of gangs and drugs. I did experience that early on. Spent 4 years in and out of like rehabs, juvenile centers, probation, a community that doesn't, till this day, doesn't have a boys and girls club or like a croc center
That's
or,
horrible. Really?
till this day.
That's like
And
in almost every other city in Salem. I can't even believe that. That's terrible. Or
yeah,
it's Oregon. I
yeah,
think the
if I
Salem
win the
Boys and Girls Club.
lottery, if I win the lottery, I'm building, and I'll
I
get
love that.
there.
I love
We'll
that.
we'll get there. We'll get there. Work is not finished, and
Yeah.
so having had, because there's really nothing to do besides get into trouble. Sadly, you kind of there's nothing to do.
Yeah, when there's
So
no outlet, like it's like, what do you expect is going to happen?
yeah, and that's kind of the system you get kind of put into
Yeah.
in communities that are, like displaced and, just not resources, no activities for youth, not a lot of people advocating for the community, just kind of that's what it is, that's how Woodburn is. Well, that's because no one ever brought anything else to the community to kind of make improvements. And yeah, so
Until you.
thank you. Yes, I'm working really hard. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But that,
So would
yeah,
you say that that really shaped the like direction of your career and what started your journey?
100%. I think being a statistic, everyone thought, she's just going to be either a drug addict or prostitute or dead, right? That was kind
Mm.
of like the expectation people had for me, sadly. And, I did overdose on meth when I was 14. And
Wow.
so having overcome so many challenges and, at such a young age, it was like, I have no choice. I'm either going to do something with my experiences and make a difference in my community, or I'm going to continue you know, and so I used all that to kind of fuel my passion and my career path, and kind of share that because I'm proud. I'm proud of where I'm at right now. I'm proud of the difference I'm making in my community, and I can confidently, you know, I don't look down on absolutely no one because, I know what firsthand of the challenges people are facing.
Yeah.
Addiction is not easy. Being in situations where you feel like this is it, I have to depend on the government. So I think having that firsthand experience has made me so passionate in what I'm currently doing in my career.
You got
For
me
sure.
teary-eyed. I'm literally sitting here. I'm like, oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
No, you're exceptional for that. I mean, there's a lot of people who really struggle to get away from that and take it and they move forward and not only just move forward, they make a difference. So like you are very inspiring. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Like you said, it's like you knew from the get you had to work 2 times harder. But
Uh-huh.
I would argue like when you're in a situation like that, not only not having like the resources, government funding, things like that for programs, but also just any type of household kind of issues, lots of kids being like maybe not always looked after, like it could lead to any sorts of things. So it's really like 3, 4 times harder. So the fact that you're able to kind of pull yourself, out of that and be successful and go to college, like that's phenomenal.
Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I can speak for everything I do. I do it with passion. I do it with love, and I help the most vulnerable populations, people, and I do that with so much heart in it because that was me and I am them. And,
Yeah.
and it's a, passionate people, that, provided resources to get me out of the places that I was in a very dark place, vulnerable place in my life. It took one stranger to kind of believe in me. It took programs and random acts of kindness from other people, which to this day I still remember. And if I can make that small impact on someone, using my position, oh, I'm going to do that. And, it just, people that are passionate, people can really make a difference. And yeah, I'm excited to
Yeah.
kind of share a little bit of, but that's kind of the root, what guided me. I feel like
Yeah.
I can't share what I do without sharing that piece of me, because that is a big piece of me that guides my work.
And you can tell how passionate
Yeah.
you are just how you're talking about it. It's like, it's just so, it's there.
Yeah.
And I love that. Yeah, it's very special. But let's dive into some questions. Our
Very
first one
real.
is, I love it. I am so here for that. What are some unique challenges that Latino women face in business or leadership roles that you wish more people understood?
100%. I wish more people understood that as a Latina woman, we do have a lot of disadvantages. Like I mentioned, our culture comes from big families. Yeah, I'm number seven, and it's very common for Latinos to have big families and parents that work multiple jobs to get by. And we often in business, we're not, we don't have a parent that can co-sign for us. If you're gonna start a business, you better believe you're gonna fund your business as well.
Yeah. You got to bring some capital.
Yes, and to the fullest. And so I, proudly can say I've had a massage therapy and doula business that I ran for 10 years. I started my husband's roofing and construction company that has been very successful. I started a coffee shop while I was working full time for the state and
Good for
going to
you.
PSU. And so I have experience in business, and everything I've done it, hard earned, no loans. You save that up, and every bit counts. And that's, we really do the work with extra passion, because our reputation really brings in, word of mouth and business, and really having that integrity as a small business owner. I mean, I wish people understood that Latina women and women in general, but I know, speaking for myself, we have to work twice as hard. We are self-funded, and everything we're doing, we really have to do it right.
Yeah. We talk a lot on the pod about how, women just aren't always taken seriously. And it's like, especially women of color, they're even at more of a disadvantage. So it's just, it's, it's hard to be that voice in the room, standing up, saying proudly what you know, your vision, your passion, and make sure that people, get behind it.
And that they're actually listening to what you're saying. Like, being a woman walking into a room anywhere is so hard because the men, there's a boys club,
Yeah.
they have their own little club and they're doing their own thing. And
Going golfing.
yeah, and you never get invited. And, and women of color have an even harder time with that. It's just, it's frustrating.
100%. And I can speak on all levels of how frustrating that can be. I know, being, Latina, being minority, and being young, always using my passion and always being the self-motivator and go-getter that I am, having had businesses at a young age, kind of look down also, your age and your, that's always a big one.
Yeah.
They're like, do you really know what you're doing?
Actually, yeah,
Yeah.
I work, yeah.
Yeah.
No one takes you seriously. And it's so crummy. It's just kind of like, you know what? Like, I'm doing it. Just accept it and let's move forward.
Yeah, and I wish people would understand that. I mean, when you support a small business, when you support a minority business, when you support a Latina business, like, they're really going to use this to grow their business. And every job, no matter how big or how small, is really key foundation to give that opportunity, to give that person an opportunity to really get ahead. And we're already struggling trying to get ahead. So it's really nice when you can connect and get resources out there that are willing to give minority women and minority businesses an opportunity. Because we have that, disadvantage of being self-funded and not having the resources as other, big companies or other people that their parents already had connections or, were grandfathered, that business. We have disadvantages in that aspects, but I think if you work with, strong integrity and you do a great job, getting an opportunity to, show and deliver is key. You got to just be consistent and keep that momentum.
Yeah,
I love that.
so well said. Yeah.
Mhm.
So as you mentioned, family and community are often such an important value in Latino communities and cultures. How have those values influenced your approach to leadership and your
Oh
work?
yeah. I think the first part of the question was how has my values of like, family influenced my work and what I do. I have years of experience in affordable housing. My current position, I'm a portfolio project manager for a development company that's Latino, the only Latino development company here in the West Coast, which I'm proud. And being the only Latina who, you know, has that position in the organization, it's,
Good for you.
thank you. And not only in a position where I guess I do help build. Proud to say that one of my biggest thing when I came into prior to this, I worked in affordable housing for 5 years in compliance. I did property inspections for the state and so on. So I would go into multifamily homes, apartments, just same ones I lived in, and I make sure that the owners are providing you know in compliance in a safe
They're
home,
making
like
sure
I
it's a
said.
safe place for those people to be
Yes,
living.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes. And I advocate for them. No, this is mold. No, and that,
That's not okay.
yes,
Which is
yes.
silly that you would even have to do that. Like, it's just so unfortunate that people are like, it's fine, people can live with mold. Like, no, that is not what we were literally defining what makes a home a home. It's safe and you're healthy there. And it's just
Yeah.
goofy. Like, you shouldn't have to say we need to inspect to make sure you don't have mold or there's not rodents. Like, that should be just the standard of like it you shouldn't have that.
Agree, agree. You'd be
Like,
surprised
yeah,
of
like
the
why
stuff
would you have to advocate for that? That's ridiculous.
I advocate for people of color communities that are in affordable housing and getting Section 8 vouchers and elderlies, the most vulnerable population and even low income families. I advocate for them
Yeah.
that making sure that their home is a safe place
Yeah.
and making sure that landlords and our state's money is being utilized properly to provide the resources that these communities need.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
I guess in my current position, I mean, not only do I get to help with the new development, currently we're doing a project in Lake Oswego.
Ooh,
So
I
it's gonna be
love Lake Oswego.
I know, the first multifamily in like affordable housing in Lake Oswego. So that is like for me, it's like we're not
That's a
just
big deal. Good for you.
yes,
Yeah.
we're not just putting, affordable housing in Southeast or Woodburn. We
Hmm.
are a community, and no matter what your income is, we should have the same options to go
Yep.
to any city, not just where it's
Agreed.
wherever you
Yeah.
decide.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
I mean, there are so many people that, by living in Lake Oswego, it's closer to their work, closer to their life. But if there's not an affordable option, then it makes things so much more difficult in your commuting, or you can't send your kid to a school with their best friend because it's just so far apart, or a multitude of ways.
Well, the
And
opportunities too, and for example, in a place like Oswego and like West Lynn, like, a lot of the people that live there have money, and that means that those schools are better off than schools in other districts. And so you're supplying those kids who are in an affordable housing the same opportunity that someone whose family has money gets. And that's just so valuable. They get they get to have what the other kids are having, and that should be everywhere. And unfortunately, it's not. But, you know, their housing isn't what's keeping them from that.
100%.
Yeah.
Resources and environment is
Yeah.
key for success in having, being in a place where I was growing up, where I didn't have resources or a good environment, or,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate. My path could have gone 180, and unfortunate to be in a position where I can help make these changes and have a say of where we're building. And not only that, I work very closely with resident services that provide work hand in hand with the tenants. When things escalate, they come directly to me, and being in a position where I know I'm like on top of, fair housing rights and
Yep.
advocating for these people in these communities and making sure we're providing these resources. So youth are not overdosing like I did
Yeah.
at age 14 in an apartment, making sure that is, what's happening at these properties, and having that position where I know firsthand the things that could happen, and what can happen if we as a community don't come together to
To
people
look
in
after one
Yeah.
another.
So that
Agree.
we have to be a community. Like, it's not just you exist there, you have to do the things that a community does and advocate for other people in your neighborhood. Like, your neighbor is not someone who lives next door to you, it's someone who you should be checking in on and supporting.
I agree.
Our next question is, in your experience, how can organizations better support and uplift Latino communities in ways that are authentic and lasting?
Yes, I'm really proud to work for the organization that I work at. I feel like there's no that without me. I mean, there's so many passionate individuals like myself that work at this organization. It is a led development corporation. With that being said, we offer everything from home ownership. We have a home ownership department. We don't just want to provide housing. We want to make you one day a homeowner. We want to help you build your credit. We want to give you that opportunity. We have a whole home ownership department, credit building, everything, you name it, resources to kind of help guide tenants so they can one day be a homeowner. It's so hard to
Yeah.
get out of that without support. And we have, after school clubs to help youth that could find trouble like I once did. And so we have a lot of properties, but we do target. We're based out. Most of our properties are in the Cooley neighborhood in Portland, which is one of the most vulnerable communities in Portland. And so we have a resident service department, which really works authentically to hear out the tenants and people in that community and advocate for them. I'm currently doing a whole grand opening of the futsal court in that community, and
Cool.
yay, one of many projects that I'm doing. And I really talk to the resident service staff and the after school staff and everybody that actually works every day with the community and the people living there. And I got their feedback. What kind of food do you guys want at this event? What kind of things do you guys want at this futsal court? Do you guys want to do a community mural? So actually hearing the voices of the people that are living there, not just cookie cutter, like, I think
Yep.
they need this, they need that. No, I want to know what you guys want, and I'm gonna make it happen. Okay.
Yeah, because you're going to get more participation. You're going to bring the community together. And it's like, if you provide what they want, it's going to allow culture and community to really cultivate and have an impacting event.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so many, especially when you're in a demographic that isn't put first frequently, or most of the time, honestly. Like, having someone actually listen to you means a whole lot more than someone saying, we're doing this and you're doing that. So I love, like, literally my cheeks hurt from smiling. You're just making me so happy hearing everything you're saying. Like, I think it's so special the way that you're even going about it. It's like you are really thinking about these people first in everything you're doing, and that's amazing.
Thank you. And then I am currently doing 5 rehabs on the properties as soon as, advocating for, with grants, and I advocated and, help apply for them and everything to get everything from siding to roof to not only like a full, to make it not only safe, but in compliance. Like, no one deserves to be in a place where there's mildew or, lead paint and stuff like that. So really looking at all aspects of, what can I help make this community? What's under my control? What am I passionate about? I'm passionate about providing a safe home and the people we serve, the most vulnerable populations, and making sure that in whatever way that I can, I'm going to help out, and being in a position where I can work with so many different departments in my organization that are very passionate. I feel that I really do a great job of really hearing what's needed from that community and putting that to work. I forgot to mention the biggest, most exciting part of the organization that I work for and all the different aspects of really building entrepreneurship, especially for people of color and Latinas. We have El Mercado. We own El Mercado, which is, it's in Portland. It's like a market slash food cart area. And we also have an entrepreneurship business department in our organization, which not only helps, does workshops for the community and the people in our multifamily, affordable housing apartments, help them like the ABCs of small business, entrepreneurship, how to, file, an LLC, how to, all that. And we even provide, like, we have grants. We always are looking out for what's available, and we provide grants to help them get started and starting a small business. We have a community kitchen. You name it.
I love it.
That's incredible. So, in your opinion, what systematic barriers do you often see Latino families facing, and how does your organization kind of help break through those barriers?
Absolutely. So many barriers. And I feel like we as an organization, not only building affordable housing, we're looking from the root cause to every aspect of how are we going to help you be, start a small business, become a homeowner. We have college scholarships that we are constantly connecting, and sharing with our resident services staff, that making sure that the multifamily or the people in the community are aware of, the scholarships available, the resources, how to, if you're short on rent, if you're struggling with anything from drug addiction to paying your rent. And we even have learning centers in that Cooley neighborhood, which they're ran by our staff, and we have it's for the youth. We have like a STEM program, we have sewing, we have like a 3D printer, we have all kinds of cool things. So we're constantly engaging with the community and really, putting our money where it's at. Like we're not just saying we help, we're doing it. We're doing the
You're investing in
and
them.
putting in the work, and I love that.
That's so special. Like, you're investing in the youth and the kids and into the community. You're literally putting your mouth or your money where their mouth is so that they can, build their lives.
Well,
It's
what I
important.
also see is you're really creating not just like difference in one person's life or one family's life, but really generational wealth of something to build and grow. You own a house, you can pass it down, and it just throughout the generations is going to allow people to get a bit of a further step ahead so that they don't have to hopefully one day work 2 times as hard.
100%. And I think, being the organization that we are and offering so many resources, and there's nothing that we wouldn't help out with. I can't name one thing that we would say we wouldn't help them with that. If we don't have the answer, we'll find you some kind of resource, if and that's who we are. We're very passionate. I can speak for myself, and I can advocate that there's not a soul that works in my organization that doesn't feel how I feel. And being with so many passionate individuals sharing the same, goal and mission and value is just, it's special.
That's beautiful.
That's amazing. And you're building a community through doing this too. Like, I mean, it's already a strong community, but you're bringing all the people together, which is even more awesome.
I can see totally why you and Cass are friends.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, 100%.
Cass is a very community-driven person, and so I totally see how you guys are clicking.
Yeah. Okay, what advice would you give Latina women who are striving for financial independence or entrepreneurship but might feel overwhelmed by systematic challenges?
100%, because I am her, and I felt those systematic challenges. I know, the barriers financially, having great ideas and not knowing where to start, or feeling like because of that, I'll start my business maybe when I can save up X amount. And I'm going to tell you, because I wish I could tell my younger self this, is reach out to people. And, don't be, what's the worst thing that can happen? Get out of your comfort zone and reach out, seek out resources, get outside your comfort zone and network, and talk about it. Talk about your goals, talk about your passion, talk about your business idea. Talk to people. You'd be surprised of how many people are willing to just be resourceful, or it might be that stranger that you just happen to, just, you don't know unless you try, and don't give up. I mean, you just don't give up on yourself, don't give up on your dreams, and speak that positiveness into truth, and put it to work. I mean, don't give up, and reach out to resources. And if you have to, start saving a little bit, see those challenges as, in the best way possible. Like, this is challenging, but it's going to bring me so much growth, and think about the reward afterwards. And and I'm so, like, grateful that every little dream of mine, I feel like I've accomplished. And
I love that.
like, I coffee shop owner, yes. Oh, I want to be a developer, yes. Massage therapist, yes. This, and these are things that, if you would have told 14-year-old Sonia that was doing drugs, girl, you're going to have a master's degree, you're going to have another degree, you're going to graduate from a private university, girl, you're going to have 2 homes, you're going to make a difference in your community. I would have never thought. So don't ever feel like your current situation is it, because there's way more to life than your current situation. Because I can speak on that.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about it on the podcast a lot, but I came from nothing. I came from a very low income family, living in rural Georgia. And growing up, I just had this drive in me of, like, the situation I was born into cannot be my final story. Like, there's so much more ahead, and you just have, like, if there's that will, there's that way. And just kind of find the right people, surround yourself with the right people, and get good resources. I think you hit the nail on the head there.
Yes. And, sometimes you might not find your support system in your home, or people right, in your immediate circle. Sometimes your support system might be people that you run in, that you meet, that inspire you, and just grab onto every inspiring person and take something positive to just kind of build yourself. And that's kind of what I did. Is it's not here, but I met so and so, and they said this to me, and I'm really holding on to that. And this, I met so and so, and this, and so just pulling the good in people and using that as your, like, there is good people out there, and I want to be that positive person that inspires one person one day.
Yeah. You never know, like, what you say, it can have an impact on others.
Completely agreed. Yeah. What gives you hope about the next generation of Latina leaders?
I think what gives me hope of the next generation, I feel, for the most part, I think Latina leaders. I have two daughters that I'm so proud, and I just feel like they're so, they're aware of, they know grandma, which is born in the 60s. They know mom, which is probably born in the 90s. And then they, so I feel like they have so much perspectives in life that they're at an age where they can kind of hear the stories of what we went through, and learn from all this. And I think there's not a Latina mother that I know that isn't ever going to remind her daughter of, of how the challenges and how to take advantage of the opportunities. I think every Latina woman, mother is engraving that in their daughter right now. So I have hope that this next generation of young Latinas are set, are ready to, are really motivated and are ready to they've heard their mothers. I know every Latina woman that I know tells her daughter things that I tell my daughter. You need to take advantage of this. You need to do this. You need to do that, and do it for yourself, and just really kind of giving them guidance. So I feel confident that the next generation of Latinas are just going to be so empowered and really in a positions where they could really make a difference. I'm so proud of my oldest. She's a freshman at St. Mary's Academy. And
Oh, my
yes,
friend went there.
great school. And,
Fantastic school.
and just really, I know every Latina mother out there wants the best for their daughter.
Yeah.
And I know every daughter has a Latina mother telling them to work hard and they can do it. So I feel very happy for the next generation of Latina women that they're going to have hopefully an advantage because they've already, heard of the disadvantages that have taken place. And I hope they're going to take advantage of where they're at.
I mean, if they have people like you helping them out, they are set up for success. Truly. Like you're very inspiring. I mean, I can't imagine that they're not going to learn a lot from you.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think when you're in a situation where you might be coming from a lower income or a rough background, I think seeing somebody that might look like you or have a similar background as you, like being successful and being somebody to look up to, I think even just that one example makes somebody realize, oh, it's possible. It's possible for me to grow farther than what I was born into.
Yes, I completely agree. And I think the worst thing any person can do is just kind of, I guess, set standards for others. Absolutely not. Who are we to set standards for someone? I mean, when anyone shares a goal or a dream, I'm like, yes, like no matter how impossible it sounds or, yes, do it, go for it. Like, look at me. Who would have ever thought little, you know, wherever I came from, Sonia would be where I'm at now. And it's crazy of the 180 you can do if you really set your mind to it. Like you mentioned earlier, if there's a will, there's a way, and don't give up on it, no matter how crazy your dream might sound to others. I've shared
It's your dream, not theirs.
Yeah.
exactly.
We actually had somebody on the pod a few weeks ago that said, if people don't think your dream is crazy, your dream is not big enough.
Yes. 100%.
Right. So you kind of touched on this a little bit, but if you could tell your younger self one thing about being a Latina woman in business, what would it be?
Don't give up. Don't give up. And, work hard. And you might have to, work double, but put in that work. Put in that work. It's so worth it. Put in that work. Set a plan, set a goal, go for it. Go for it. What are you going to lose? You're going to, years are going to go by or, and you're going to regret it, or you're going to just go for it. And I think just staying positive, staying optimistic, and taking it one step at a time. Just go for it.
I think that you learn something from everything that you do. And, maybe you try something and it isn't super successful, but you're going to learn what didn't work and what did work, and you can apply that to your next thing. So even if it didn't go as you planned, it's still not a bad thing that you went through it, just learn in the process.
Yes, 100%. Learn.
No, I love that. Well, I can't believe it's already been like 40 minutes, but we're gonna clock out of our podcast. In your opinion, what makes a neighborhood truly feel like a community?
I love this. I love this. I feel definitely, and what makes a neighborhood feel like a community is just feeling safe, feeling like you can go outside and you can go on a jog and you can let your kids come out, or, just, I think safety is key, is what makes it feel like community. And of course, having resources available or having other things in the community to make you like, resources or parks or other things, but safety is priority. That's what I feel makes a community strong. It makes a community feel like somewhere you want to be part of.
Yeah. For me, I've always felt very at home in communities that come together for people. When your friend down the road might be going through something, and so people like bring them a pie or like things like that. I have always felt like that really just brings people together, and I've loved living in neighborhoods like that. What about you, Alyssa?
I'm similar. I grew up in a neighborhood that, everyone said hello to each other, and I still live in a neighborhood that's like that. But I like that, you feel safe, but you feel connected to those people. Like if something's going on, like you need help, you can call your neighbor. Like something dumb, like you're in the middle of baking a cake and you're out of eggs and you need one more, and your neighbor can give you that. Like having relationships with those people that are more than just you say hi because that's a neighborly thing to do. Like you actually care a lot about each other as well.
100%. That showing that sympathy and, being, I don't know, I think there was one time where I was on vacation with my husband, and my daughter was home with grandma. Grandma didn't drive and she had ear infection. My neighbor took her to urgent care and sat with her and did all that, Well, mom was having a margarita. And it's like, my neighbor would do that for me because she's giving me that neighbor love, and she's, making me feel like, that, love your neighbor vibe.
Yeah.
But I think that it's really interesting. Like not everyone sees neighbors that way. And I mean, my parents still live in the same neighborhood that I grew up in. And, some of the neighbors are the same from when I was a kid, but a lot of them are different. And it's very interesting to see that a lot of the younger generation that has moved in isn't as neighborly. And I don't know if it's like, COVID kind of separated people more, stuff like that. And so I'm really hoping that all comes back and everyone really starts rallying around each other again. Cause like I had the best childhood when I had people around me that rallied with me. And like, I hope that every kid has that, and we just need to bring it back. So I like what you're doing with the community, because that helps us get back to being there.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
Is
thank
there
you.
any way that, or like, is there anything that you want to maybe put out to our audience of ways that people can help and support, and how, like, maybe some Latina businesses that we can support, or anything like that? Anything you want to shout out?
Yes, definitely. I would highly recommend to support. I know the organization I work for is Hacienda, CDC, Hacienda Community Development. And as I mentioned, it's legit business. We really working every day on all aspects, and and just we are opening the El Mercadito, which is going to be full of entrepreneurs that are Latino businesses, and we'll have a grand opening, and I'll share that with you guys. A
Please
bunch
do.
of food carts, yes, and so just supporting, because that's all we can really do for each other is support each other. A little bit goes such a long way.
Amazing.
That's the truth.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Thank you, ladies, for having me. I had so much fun.
My cheeks hurt from smiling so much. Everything you said made me so happy.
Oh, thank you. It comes with, comes from my heart, because this is a lived life experience. I can speak from my wisdom and my growth that has taken place, and I'm so proud to be where I'm at, where I can really give back to my community, especially, Latinos out here in the community. I am them, and I know firsthand of the challenges that we face, and I'm here to assist in my position. And
Love it.
Amazing.
I really love that. Alrighty, well, next week we're going to be talking about Summer Fridays. This is the ultimate Pacific Northwest work perk. So companies like Nike, Adidas, Intel give their employees Friday afternoons off during the summer months to enjoy some sunshine, recharge, and make the most of the season, since most of the time it's raining. We'll be discussing this fun benefit, why it matters for a work-life balance, and whether they actually boost your productivity. Plus, we'll share some ideas on how to romanticize your summer Fridays, even if your company doesn't offer them. So grab your sunnies and let's kick off summer right. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.